You're listening to Behind the Music Podcast, a podcast that features the best musicians in Southern gospel music, with your host, Josh Griffin.
Welcome to Behind the Music Podcast, Episode 5, with our special guest, Trevor Conkle. Trevor, glad to have you with us tonight, sir.
Hey, it's an honor to be on here, Josh. Thank you for the opportunity and looking forward to chatting with you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Trevor, go ahead and give us a brief introduction of yourself. Start with how you got started in gospel music, who you play and travel with right now, and just who you may have played with before you're with your current group right now.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So I grew up in a wonderful country church that taught me the rudiments of gospel music and learned how to play that convention style, church pianist style music, and then I learned how to play, more advanced arrangements and choral projects and so many other different ways of approaching the piano from many people, just by listening. I honestly, I'm somebody who doesn't read music, and so I know a little bit basic theory, but I don't read music as well as I can play, unfortunately. But yeah, so I've been playing for, let's see, gosh, I'm 26 years old, and I started 23 years ago. And mom and dad just kind of noticed that I had an ear for it, and they thought maybe we need to get him a piano. And when I was at age 3, then age 5, they thought we really need to take this serious. But finding a piano teacher that would take a 5-year-old is kind of hard. So we found a wonderful lady, and took me in for, I guess, about 7 years. I took basic piano theory, learning everything I could from her. And then after that, I started listening to gospel music more intently as my ear grew. The desire in my heart was to, I wanted to learn quartet style music, playing different types of music, genres. My ear grew, and along the way, I started listening to a lot of groups that I'd never heard of before, thanks to technology like YouTube. I saw a lot of groups like the Kingsmen, have Anthony Berger. I want to be just like Anthony. Then I'd listen to the Cathedrals, and I'd hear Roger Bennett, Gerald Wolf, and I'd be like, I want to be like them. So I had a lot of influences, really, in my life. People even like, Stan Whitmire, just learning how to play, some of those 10th chords and learning how to become a better pianist. That's one thing I always tell people. You should never stop practicing. You're always perfecting your craft. And I certainly am. Still have a lot more to learn. But, I just think there's a lot of people that have helped me get this far and have allowed my ear as it has grown, to tune into the approach that I now have at the piano. And, honestly, I was basically homeschooled. I went to public school for the first 9 years, then I was homeschooled for the last 4 years. And the way that happened was, honestly, we just felt like I needed to come back home and finish out high school at home. And we didn't know what God was doing at the time. But a year later, after I started homeschooling, God opened the door for me to go on the road with the Hoppers at age 16. And they took notice, and they wanted to bring me on board and give me an opportunity to get some exposure and learn, on the road, because I told them I love gospel music so much. And they're like, well, we need a piano player. Will you come travel with us? I said, well, sure. Well, mom and dad didn't love that because I was still 16 and living at home,
Right.
of course. But, with a lot of prayer and counsel, we just felt like, maybe this just was a once in a lifetime opportunity. We didn't know what God had in store. And so I took a step of faith, and I went out with them, and I was actually with the Hoppers for 3 years, right at 3 years. And I'm grateful for that opportunity to have got to start out and get my feet wet with them. Wonderful people. Have had a wonderful ministry for so many years and made a difference in gospel music in people's lives. And then God started, working on my heart, and was showing it evident that I needed to come back home. And so he made it available, not only to come back home, but he placed me in a position that did not currently have a full-time piano player with the Mark Trammell Quartet. And with Mark's prayer and guidance, and the Lord showing us both, what to do for the next season of the ministry, God allowed it to happen to where I could come home and join the Mark Trammell Quartet. And now I've just started my 8th year being on the road with the Mark Trammell Quartet, and it is just crazy how time has flown. A
Oh, yeah.
lot's happened, and God's blessed us. and I feel right at home, and they're not just people to sing and make music for the Lord with, but they're family, and
Right.
I'm just grateful to be where I am, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
That's right. That's right. Do you find it intimidating, I guess, to realize that, especially when y'all do without the tracks, let's just say you do piano and bass with the four vocals, do you find it intimidating that you're playing piano while Mark Trammell, the legendary Mark Trammell, was playing bass with you as well as you do some of them older songs? I would be nervous, let's just say, but do you feel that way as well, or?
I used to be very nervous about it. I
Right.
did, but he's very calculated in how
Hmm.
he allows things to happen, and it just kind of took one song at a time, and then honestly, it all just kind of started to click, because I listened to a lot of the cathedral stuff, and then I also
Right.
listened to a lot of second half stuff, and just a lot of the influences and the songs that Mark chose. It just kind of all started to click. And then I
Right.
started learning more quartet style, learning licks and how to play accompaniment style, when to play, when not to play. There's so many things, like especially when you're doing just piano and bass, a lot of that's just very smooth accompanying. You want to
Yep.
accompany the songs, and the singers, you want to accompany them, not be in the forefront. So learning when to do that was a very important stage. And, a lot of people think I really play hard on the piano. I just have a lot of excitement and energy. I
Uh,
really don't hit it that hard, but, I'm blessed because I can play soft and tender, or I can play, I mean, I can play hard, but I don't like to because it hurts my hands.
oh
But,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
can put some energy behind it and create some excitement as well.
That's right. Speaking on those same lines, what's your favorite song to play when it's just you and him playing for the group to sing?
Oh gosh. Hmm. There's a lot of songs I enjoy playing when it's just me and him. You can't but help love doing Boundless Love. That one's
Yep.
just got such energy behind it.
That's right.
And it modulates a couple of times, and it's a fun one to play. I, you know, Sometimes we just goof off a lot in sound check too.
Yep.
I'll play, or I'll attempt to play Gerald's version of Far Above the Starry Sky a little bit.
Yep.
And of course we do wedding music.
Yep.
And I kind of came up with an arrangement of Sheltered in the Arms of God
Hmm.
a couple years ago that Steven's featured on, and he does a great job on it. And that's one of my favorites to play. But
Yep.
really, we've pulled out a lot of things that Mark used to do, like Master Builder,
Hmm.
He's My Lord, Candy Cootie Woody. We're doing a lot more of those from his '80s tenure with the cathedrals, and I'm just having a blast doing those.
That's right.
Um, and it's gosh, it's so hard to pick one favorite, but yeah, that'd probably be some of my favorites.
Oh yeah.
Uh, for sure. But yeah, Boundless Love, it's right up there, probably my favorite.
That's right. That would be pretty neat. I mean, he's been with some legendary groups. I mean, basically three of the biggest quartets, I guess, Kingsman, Cathedrals, and Gold City, and then
Yes,
helped
sir.
started Greater Vision. So I mean, who else could say something like that? I mean,
I know.
speaking of and speaking of yourself, I mean, not too bad to start with your career as well. Start playing with the Hoppers and now with Mark Trammell Quartet. I mean, that ain't bad either.
Oh, I'm so blessed. I really am. For a young person, who I probably thought I'd never get the opportunity to do anything till I was in my later years, because
Yeah.
how many old people want to hire a young person?
Yeah.
But you know
Yeah.
what? I love old people. They love me, and
There you go.
we get along
Yep.
just fine.
That's right. That's right. Oh goodness. Speaking about the group, y'all have, I guess, a new CD that come out or has come out, about to come out. Is that correct?
Just came out at Quartet Convention, debuted
Yep.
there. We actually had a special limited edition of it
Right.
on the table, celebrating Mark's 50 years in gospel music. And it was such a wonderful time celebrating him. And we did that special showcase
Yep.
on Friday called Quartet Man, and it was a room full of people. It was just amazing, the
Right.
turnout of people that showed up and supported him. We had not done dates with him really in about 10 weeks. I think it was about 8 to 10 weeks there since he had been home a lot with his wife,
Right.
helping her recover from her stroke. So it was
That's right.
really good to spend that time with him, and really a lot of people just rally around him and encourage him.
Yeah.
And that project, I saw him kind of go through a hard time trying to figure out what songs do you
Uh,
pick to celebrate 50 years, five
yeah.
decades worth of music. And he's been on so many albums and
Yep.
has been on so many records. You're just like, how do you start? But I think he did a wonderful job rounding it out, and it's probably since I've been here, it's been one of the most requested already. People are telling us, hey, do this song for me, do this song, because a lot of us just relive in their childhood. So
Right.
it's been wonderful to see a warm reception from the crowd and the fans enjoying the project so far. And we're staging a lot of them in concert. So if you come see us in concert, you're probably going to hear a lot from that CD.
Yeah, that's right. Speaking of him, one more thing about him, I've noticed back on first thing at Sea Cruise I went on back in 2015. Um, was you with the group back in 2015?
No, I was with the Hoppers then. I came in
Okay.
2017 to Mark.
They had a Kingsman reunion. Squire Parsons was there, Ernie Phillips, and of course Mark Trammell Quartet, but he was like the MC of the whole concert, whatever, for the Kingsman. And Andrew Issue was on board playing the piano.
Yep.
Um, Wisnett played the bass. Austin, I get
Yep.
him and his brother mixed up. Forgive me. And Luke Vault was playing the steel, and then of course Brandon Reese played the drums. But anyways, I would look while they were singing a song, and you could see Mark over there at the piano player Andrew Ishii doing numbers like 4, 3, kind of leading along with
Yeah.
the natural number stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool. Especially
Yes.
a lot of those
Yeah.
songs. Some of them you can, if you play them long enough, you can kind of memorize how they go. But just some of them, he probably ain't heard in a while. Just he give them directions. That's pretty neat. Yeah,
Oh, Mark is such an intellectual person when it comes to music theory, and he knows what he wants. And he helped teach me a lot with the Nashville number system. I'd self-taught myself what little I did know,
yeah,
but he knows what inversions and the voicings he wants, and he is the ultimate quartet man, as they say.
that's right. That's right. Well, let's get back to Trevor. Then I just sorry I went off on a tangent there, but
No, you're good.
Trevor, how many instruments total do you play or can play?
Oh gosh, you want to know how many I've attempted to learn?
Well, you can do that too. Yeah, yeah,
Oh, well, let's see. My dad's side of the family was primarily bluegrass, and then my mom's side, was more church style.
yeah.
So, I started out with a piano, and then I kind of self-taught myself the organ a little bit at church, and I'd fill in there. Um, then, my grandfather on my dad's side started me in on fiddle lessons. And
Oh,
so I played the fiddle a little bit,
yeah.
and he got me going on the mandolin a little bit.
Uh-huh.
They bought me a banjo, tried to get me lessons on the banjo, but
Yeah.
you have to be crazy to play the banjo. I mean, you
Yeah.
have it
Yeah.
is such a unique
Yep.
instrument, and I just couldn't get it down. I tried and tried and practiced, but I didn't get the banjo. And
Yeah.
I got picked up the guitar a little bit and figured out, G, C, and D, but I didn't go much further with that, So I figured out I can attempt a lot. I can hear it, but the piano it just clicked for me.
That's right. And that's no easy instrument either, I would say, too. Yeah.
No, oh gosh. Tell people 88 keys,
Uh-huh.
and you've got so many keys to choose from. And,
Yep.
I used to think I had to play a lot.
Yeah.
Really, the older I get, less is more.
Yeah.
And, it's just, it's a special instrument.
Yeah.
I tell people I have to become one with it when I play it. That's why I'm particular, on what instruments I use on the
Yeah.
road and technology. I try to keep everything as real sounding and the action and everything as real as possible because I lean more towards a true traditional sound, on the piano. So I want it to look and feel and be as close as to a real piano if possible.
Right.
And practicing, um, truly practicing has been my approach to becoming better. Mess up, learn how to do it better.
I think
Practice and trial and error, and that's kind of been my approach to it.
that's right. That's right. Speaking of that, you mentioned the next question. your road gear. What gear, keyboard, and all that do you use on the road?
So currently, I have a Yamaha P515 piano. That's a stage keyboard,
Mhm.
and I've had it probably 4 years now, I think.
Okay.
And it's probably one of the last ones that they've made that's kind of close to a real piano. The
Yeah.
action is as close to a real grand as you can get, in my opinion. It's weighted keys and they're wooden keys, and it feels incredible, you know.
Yeah.
The soundboard, you can feel it through the speakers on the keyboard. And there's a type of technology that runs through each individual key where you sense the vibration like you would the resonance from a regular grand piano.
Mhm.
So that is the truest keyboard, in my opinion, for someone who wants the closest thing to a real piano. I've tried so many others, and I just felt like I was playing a keyboard. You know, I just
Yeah.
didn't feel like I was really playing a piano and could, become one with it. And I've got a monitor that I use on stage, and it's a DB monitor.
Mhm.
And I've had it. It's probably about a year and a half. Um, but right before that, when I first came to the group, I had a CP 500, one of those old, big, heavy 80-pound
Yeah.
Yamaha keyboards. But the other day I was talking to Gerald Wolf, and he had went to get, I think, the newest one. It's a 525, and he said it don't hit anywhere close to the 515. So
Oh,
I think he's going himself to go get a 515 if he can find one, because
right.
they don't make them as much anymore.
That's
And
right.
it's got a couple of samples in it. It's got a really good Bosendorfer. It's very warm. It's got a really good electric piano sounds to it. I play that a lot in stage. I'll do it probably the electric stage piano. I'll do it dual layer when we do the song yesterday, stuff like that. Anything soft like offertory or altar call, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll do that DX electric piano as well. But the Yamaha 9 foot CFX Grand, it's the best sample in my opinion,
Yeah.
out there.
That's right. Good deal. Another question. What is or where is your favorite venue to play at? I guess like EQC, Silver Dollar City, what's your favorite venue to
Oh
play at?
gosh, favorite venue. We have so many places that we go, and we're blessed to have a lot of annual dates.
Mhm.
Um, I'll say, I didn't get to play in Freedom Hall when it
Yep.
was Nashville Quartet Convention,
Okay.
but I got to go play in Freedom Hall when I was with the Hoppers for a John Hagee event about 9 years ago. They had it there. And then, of course, Quartet Convention was a huge goal for me. I went in 2013, the last year in Louisville, and I prayed, Lord, I just want to be able to get up there someday. I'd love to do that. And
Right.
a year later, he allowed me to join the Hoppers and get to play on the Quartet Convention stage. So that was a big honor for me. I've been in a lot of wonderful churches all across America. First Baptist Dallas, to name one. First Baptist Atlanta, Charles Stanley's church. We've been to David Jeremiah's, Shadow Mountain over there, and just really been blessed to be really in a very universal amount of well-known churches and venues and performing arts centers all across America. Even
Yeah.
last year in December, we flew to Australia and
Yeah.
got to perform there. And gospel music hymn sing has really started to grow. The past 10 years, we've just celebrated this past month, and so God's opened a lot of doors there, and just blessed to get to even go to the smallest churches that we get to
Yep.
go to, where there's 30 people, and
That's right.
sometimes those are the best services, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll have
Yep.
30 or 3,000. It don't matter to me. Wherever the Lord is and wherever we get to be, I'm just glad to be there.
That's right. Do you say, speaking of the number you was talking there, anywhere from 30 to 3,000, do you at any time get nervous, depending on the crowd size or anywhere new you go to, I guess? Basically, that may have something to do with it as well. Or you
You
may be
know,
used to it by now.
I don't think about it as much as I used
Yeah.
to, because
Yeah.
once the newness kind of wears off, you don't think about it as much mentally. But I every night about 3 minutes before they call us up, you kind of get that little just nervous energy, it builds up still. So I still get that every night, but it's never not like, oh, I gotta go home and practice. I'm gonna miss this note. I've become a lot more confident and
Oh yeah,
not worrying about what the people scared I'm gonna miss a note or something.
that's right.
Um, but yeah, and I think that's good. You still get nervous. That means that you take your craft seriously and
Yeah,
what you do for the Lord. So
that's
yeah.
right. That's right. That's right. Speaking along the same line, well, let's go a different route. Who are your musical influences? You would say they can be professional, they can be somebody that maybe you just know, or just whoever.
Wow. Oh gosh. I'd say the first one ever was my church pianist.
Hmm.
Her name was Sharon Mays, and she was raised on that good old convention style playing,
Yeah,
and kind of remind you a lot of the Spear Girls and her playing. And then my piano teacher, she had a unique approach as well. Playing more high church style.
yeah,
Um, Her name was Gail Smith. And then, a lot of people along the way would say, listen to this group, listen to that group, listen to this piano player, because you are what you listen to as a
yeah,
musician.
yeah.
And, along the way, I just had many influences, because you really, I was a decent church pianist, but to become a professional musician, I didn't know really what kind did I want to be. What
Right.
did I want to have a foundation of and then build off of that.
Uh-huh.
And then when I was about age 10, I found out on YouTube of a gentleman. His name was Greg Howlett. He's from Atlanta, Georgia area. And he used to publish all these instructional videos, all this information on being a good church pianist. And he taught me so much. And I've never met the man, but he taught
Yeah.
me so much in his instructional material on the chords, chord voicings, inversions, how to play softly, how to interpret, and how to transpose and take a hymn and, make a unique arrangement out of it, how to
That's right.
modulate, all the important things that nobody thinks about. They just hear it and they think, oh, that's pretty.
Yeah.
But really applying it and putting it into action. Uh,
Right.
I'm grateful to him for that
Right.
influence. And then, of course, just listening to some of the greats in gospel music like Gerald Wolfe and Kim Collinsworth, Stan Whitmire, Tim Parton, Matthew Holt, Anthony Berger, Roger Bennett.
Yeah.
So many I could list. Josh Singletary is incredible. You learn something from all of them. They all have a unique style, unique presentation, and an approach to the piano. Because we don't need the same thing. We need unique and
Right.
variety.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's something unique about gospel music. It's a unique brand of its own, and everybody has their own style and approach. But
Right.
I've learned a lot through so many different people, and just tried to be me and
That's right.
mold into the musician that I felt like the Lord was wanting me to be. And now I get to play favorite music, quartet music,
Yep.
and convention style, 4-part harmony. Just
That's right.
I tell people I'm so blessed because this is not a job. This is a blessing that I get to go have fun
Yeah.
because I love it so much, and it's my
That's right.
passion. And the Lord's given me the desires of my heart, and I'm just grateful at my age of 26 years old to have just celebrated 10 years now traveling for the Lord in gospel music. And I'm
Right.
just excited really to see what the future has to hold because I feel like I'm just getting my feet wet still. And God
That's
has
right.
blessed us so much so far.
That's right. Speaking of that convention style piano playing, have you heard of the Rogers family with
Yes.
their mama that plays? She does a great job,
Yes.
and they can
Miss
sing.
Kim is wonderful.
Those
Yes.
three
Yes.
can sing. I'm talking about really sing. Yeah.
I know them very well. They're great people and they've got
Yeah.
great family harmony. And Miss Kim could wear out a piano for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're wonderful. And I think definitely you're going to see more of them on the road.
Oh yeah. And her son's a good bass player too. I mean, really good.
Yes, Samuel is a
And
great bass
singing at the
player.
same time. That's pretty good. That's talent. Yeah.
I know people don't think about that, especially when Mark's been out. I'll ask the person filling in, I'm like, all right, can you sing and play bass? And they're like, no, I'm like, oh, no, But who wants to see Michael Booth holding a bass guitar anyway, I'm
Yeah,
kidding, I'm kidding.
yeah. You
But
speak
no,
you
yeah, no,
you speak it out. That he's pretty talented too. If he could do that, go from tenor to baritone, yeah,
oh
that's
my
that's good
goodness,
too.
oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
I need to get on YouTube see if I post any videos or anything. Yeah, check that out. Yeah.
I think they have.
Okay.
Don't pay attention to my piano playing.
Oh goodness. Leslie, let's go. Far as traveling, what's traveling on a bus like with Steven, Nick, Will, Mark? I I've been blessed to be able to meet Nick over the year, meet and get to know Nick over the years. He said, and then you see these pictures on Facebook with him, some photo bombing something, and he just got this weird look
Yes.
on his face. And then met Will Lane when he was with Anchorman, and great bass singer, just a crazy guy. And then of course Steven with the Dixie Echoes, he's funny too. What's it like traveling on a 45-foot bus with those guys?
I tell you what, sometimes I get on there and it feels like it's a geriatric ward. And sometimes I get on there and it feels like it's a nursery full of a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
And we have so much fun together. By the end of the weekend, it feels like the circus. And, we all get along so well. We have a good time goofing off and at the expense of each other, of course,
Oh
but
yeah.
that really makes the miles that we travel go by quickly.
Oh yeah.
And, we all are one mind, one accord. We have the same goals. We want to give our best, dress our best.
Yeah.
Quality is important to us, but also stay true to the purism of the music and do the best that we can.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of fun. And it'd probably be funny if they put a video camera on there and did a reality TV show. People probably would be like, oh my goodness, they are crazy. And that certainly is. Sometimes I get on there and just go climb in my bunk because I'm scared to death. What's Will going to do next? Or Steven or Nick going to do next? And Mark's blessed. He's got a door, so he can go to the back and close the door.
Oh, and he's the boss too. I mean, I'm sure they won't mess with him too much. Maybe Nick might, but yeah, you gotta be careful. What a
Well, I
top
mean, every
security.
once in a while, me and Mark, we like to pick at each other. You got the
Yeah,
youngest and the oldest. There's just a great camaraderie there.
yeah,
But we pick at each other too.
that's right.
But no, it's hey, if you're not picking and having fun, then something's wrong, in my opinion.
Yeah, like you say, on that 45-foot bus, where is she gonna go? You driving on a high interstate, I mean, you got to be able to get along with
Exactly.
those, Yeah,
And
that's right.
sometimes that 45 feet feels like 15 feet.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Uh, for anybody that don't really know, let's say your typical concert day. Tell about the load in, the setup. If you do anything extra, I know like some groups they'll get like a hotel room. Everybody can get a shower and then get back on the bus
Yeah.
and go to the venue. Tell us kind of like that, about like that with Mark Trammell Quartet.
Okay. So, and it's funny actually because I just kind of added a new role to my endeavors on the road and responsibilities. So generally, like tomorrow night, we'll leave out probably about 8 or 9 o'clock, and then we'll drive to the first date, which is probably going to be about a good 12, 13 hours. And so actually, I will help split up the driving. I just got my CDL, and I wanted to be able to help the guys out. And
Yeah.
so I'm helping drive a little bit, and Nick has his CDL. And then Mark has his CDL, and then our outreach director, Jeff Haney, has his CDL. He'll be traveling with us this particular weekend. So we will all kind of split it up, help us get on down the road. And then generally the Mark Trammell Quartet day starts out getting ready between 10 and noon. And then we get ready to usually leave the Walmart where we always park generally and head to eat. We got to eat. We're full
Yeah.
time eaters, part time singers, I tell people.
Yeah.
But we leave and go eat lunch around 1 o'clock, 1:30, and if I usually find some of the best mom and pop places, and sometimes we find some of the worst places. But no, we're pretty consistent where we eat at, and that's our main meal of the day. So we usually eat something good for lunch, and then we usually try to set up. I guess if it starts around 7 o'clock that night, we'll try to be at the church around 3 o'clock, wherever we're going to perform at, and get loaded in. Part of my responsibility is the product. So I handle getting all the product in, getting the table set up, all that organized, and we got CDs, USBs, T-shirts, DVDs, just a bunch of stuff. And then the other guys handle getting up the audio system and the equipment set up, keyboard, microphones, tops, sub, all the wiring that comes along with it as well.
That's
And
right.
we were very efficient. We're usually done in about 45 minutes. Got the EQ set, and Mark comes in. We get a good sound check, and we're good to go. We go back to the bus, drink a little coffee. Some of us clean up, get ready, and then get a suit on. And we try to get in at the table about 45 minutes to 30 minutes before the service starts,
Yeah.
concert starts, and try to meet. And that time's important to us to meet and connect with our people. Our fans and people, the ones that help put bread on our tables.
Yep.
We value the relationships and that time that we get to spend with them before and after or
That's right.
intermission. So we try to be at the table early so we can mingle and talk with them, fellowship with them. And generally, then we'll start out with a concert, they'll let us take it over, and we'll go about 45 minutes somewhere in there. And then we'll have about a 10, 15-minute intermission sometimes, or sometimes we'll just do a love offering. Then we'll come back and sing about 20, 25 minutes. Then we go to the table, work the table, sell the product, talk to the people, say howdy neighbor. And then we go get changed and pack it all back up, put it back in the bus, and then we go to that thing called a GPS on the front, and we tell it where we're going next. And then, as a matter of fact, it's got a female voice, so it tells us, you got to go here. So we got a woman that tells us where to go on the bus. But yeah, we usually sometimes stop at McDonald's or somewhere, just get something quick to eat, or a Love's truck stop. And, we'll get something quick there, get some fuel, get some water. Because we don't get a hotel room. We all shower and clean up, sleep on the bus. We're self-sufficient. So
Yep.
then after that, we get back on the road and drive another 2, 3, 4, 5, 600 miles. And sometimes, like on the hymn sing tour, Aaron Heiss will book 600-mile runs, and we're like, goodness gracious. But we just get back on that road, gospel road, and head on down to the next date. And then when we're done at the end of the weekend, we head back on to home in Gadsden, Alabama. And then we come back home with our families and do it all over again.
Would you say that 45 minutes to an hour on way on the stage is probably go by? Probably is the quickest time. Probably because me being playing bass with a local group here, around here, we played this past Sunday morning at a church homecoming, and from the time you get to stage and first notes played to the end, I mean, it's like the quickest time ever to me. Seems like, I'm worried.
Yes.
I remember this part in this song right here. Go to my 7 flat instead of my 7, but don't mess it up. But when you get up there, you just remember it. But it seems like time just goes by fast. It's crazy.
Yes, sir. Yeah. It's crazy because, I tell people when you love what you're doing,
Mhm.
you don't think about it. You're just having so much fun. And I come off and I'm like, that was a quick 30 minutes. That was a quick 45 minutes.
Yeah,
And so, I tell people, they're like, do you get tired of doing the same songs? And I'm like, I'm not even thinking about it. I'm having such a good time myself. And it
yeah.
flies by so quick. It's a blessing, I guess.
Oh yeah, that's right. We pretty much do the same songs unless we go into somewhere we've already been before, because you want to kind of
Yeah.
give them something a little different. And we got one CD that we recorded. The current group did. The guy that we just went into a
Yeah.
local studio recorded, and then the band I'm with, they went several years back and done some, but we re-got those and repackaged them a little bit. But
Yeah.
plus the singer, he plays acoustic guitar, plus he's a songwriter too. So the Sunday, guy called out and said, "I heard that song you did the other day on the radio. Can you do it? One that you wrote?" And he gave the title up, and I was like, I don't. I said I ain't played this one before. I don't think live, maybe in practice. And I got to thinking. I said, I snuck up behind. I said, "What key we in?" And he told me. I said, "Okay." So had to make sure I was really paying attention to listening. I messed up maybe 2 spots, but I finally caught on to it. I said, "Okay." But yeah, that's kind of nerve wracking too.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness. I have been around a lot of spontaneity and in the
yeah,
moment stuff in my lifetime, especially in church. And as a musician, you have to be quick. You're
yeah,
trying to read someone else's mind. And that's hard, but that's a lot of responsibility.
yeah,
And, it kind of keeps you on your toes too.
yeah,
Sometimes Mark will call something I haven't played in, I don't know, 10 months, a year or 6 months. And so
yeah,
I always stay fresh and listening and trying to stay alert to what those chord progressions are and the
yep,
number system.
Yep.
Sometimes he'll do the numbers to me too, you
Oh
know.
yeah, yeah. We was somewhere I think earlier this year, a place where he'd been to before, and he had the song on the a set list for us, and had the key beside it. That was supposed to do it in F, and we got to playing, and he used his capo on his acoustic guitar. He's in E flat, and still guitar player looks at me. He's like, "It's not F, it's E flat." I said, "Well, he's got F on the paper." I said, and we just kind of stopped listening. He figured out. I said, "Well, what key?" I was like, and I told him after we got finished singing, I said, "Don't do that again now. Make sure you tell us before you change the key all of a sudden."
A little heads up would
Oh,
hurt, wouldn't it?
yeah. I was like, I mean, not being ugly. I mean, them people probably didn't really, but I mean, still, if we up there, we need to do it right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes, sir.
Oh goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Oh well, let me ask you one more question. Since I mentioned that I'm a bass player,
Yeah.
what advice do you have for bass players? I know you play with Mark playing bass, and you probably play with others throughout the years, but what advice do you have for just playing with a bass player? Yeah.
Oh gosh. Playing with a bass player, because we strip away tracks and we strip away all these other instruments, and you come down to this just pure raw approach with just piano and bass. Depending on the song, you're going to carry more rhythm, or you're going to be playing lightly and
Right.
trying to just accompany the guys. But knowing your place in a song is important. Knowing what your job and your role is supposed to be is important. And I tell people intellect's great. Knowing the rudiments are great, but allowing yourself to feel and let your passion show through that instrument so you can allow it to breathe. People feel that. They can feel when you're tense. They can feel when you're, overthinking and predicting something and you get there a little early or late. It's just, I think we sometimes get very mental over things. And especially a bass player, you have one job, and that's uh, to bring a rooted foundation
Mhm.
to a chord, and also keep good rhythm at
Yep.
times.
Yep.
So I tell people it's not always about being seen
Hmm.
or heard.
Yep.
I lean more on the side of being felt. I want people to feel me. I want them to feel that resonance of myself with the instrument through my playing. And when I play a lot with a bass player, I will take my left hand and I will invert it, and I won't double up on the root note. I will
Ah,
play a second inversion, so I
right.
let that bass player truly take ownership of the root note, and then
Yep.
I can play some unique, chords and inversions and licks with my
Right.
left and right hand to keep it clean.
That's right.
I think sometimes we don't think about things like that.
Yeah.
You can get 1-5-4-5-1. That's so easy.
Hmm.
But
Yep.
when you have a good arranger and you've got great chords written out, that you could play certain inversions, and instead of walking up, 5-6-7-1,
Right.
you may do like a 6-2-5-1.
Ah.
Learning that it's nice to be unpredictable as well, and
Yep.
following a pianist approach on how they play their chords, which is
Yep.
something generally the more you play with people, the more it will jive.
Right.
You can
That's right.
predict people's chord progressions,
Yeah.
but I think bass players are very underrated because it's such a very important role for the music.
Right.
Especially there's a difference between playing kind of Kingsman style,
Yep.
and then you go to like a Larry Goss arrangement, and you
Hmm.
got seven modulations, and you got circle
Yeah.
of fifths and the ways of changing keys. Bass players, they're kind of the 18 wheeler that gets us down the road to
Yep.
the next important stop. And
Right.
I really think I've tried to learn the bass, and it's so hard. I mean, I can tell you where to go. I just can't put it
Yeah.
on my hands and play it myself. But
Yeah.
a bass guitarist has a very important position, knowing what they're doing and what their role is in a piece, whether it's just church music or playing for a group.
Yeah.
But communication's key. Body language is key.
Hmm.
Working together with your fellow bandmates.
Yep.
You get stronger the more you work together.
That's
And
right.
I just
That's right.
I encourage bass guitarists. Your job's important. and we need more, especially in
Yeah.
our music.
Yeah.
I'm grateful to get to play with Mark, and
Yep.
knowing he got to play bass for so many of the greats in our music. It's an honor to get to play for him and
Yep.
our group a lot during concerts.
Yep. Well, you're one of the great pianists that he's played bass with. I'll truly admit that. So that's a fact. Yeah. I like that advice though. That's good
Right.
advice there. Thank you. Yeah. Well, Trevor,
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you go. Hey, I appreciate you, man. This has been a great interview, and I appreciate you being willing
Thank
to
you,
do this.
Josh.
And thankfully, was
Yes,
able to
sir.
redo this since we had a little technical difficulty
Yes.
last week, and I apologize about that. But looks like we got it all figured out, and I'll
Yes,
get
sir.
you the date on when this one will be posted. Hopefully Monday. So
Okay.
I'll
Great.
be sure to tag you in the post. But I appreciate you,
Yes,
sir,
sir.
and it's final. In closing, give us where we can find Mark Trammell Quartet's schedule, store, any social media platforms you'd like to include, sir.
Okay. Yes, sir. So I'll say real quickly too. I have a brand new hymns album that's
Yes.
just hymns, 20 of my favorite old hymns, and there's a lot of great songs on there. At the cross, does Jesus care? Great is thy faithfulness, wonderful peace it is well. Jesus loves me, even I put on there, and
Yeah.
that's a project I did. Just the piano, no tracks. It's just easy listening, and
Yeah.
I encourage people to go listen to it wherever they stream, or you can download it, to your phone. And also, you can order it if you'd like a physical CD or a USB drive. I have those as well on my website, trevorconklemusic.com.
Yeah.
Or you can get it at our table. Also, if you come to see me somewhere down the road, I'd love to see it. We have it on the table as well. For the Mark Trammell Quartet music, you can go to marktrammellquartet.com. You can find all the information on where we're going to be next under the tour tab. And then you can also get our music, including the newest one called 50, celebrating Mark's 50 years in gospel music, under the store tab there. And I'm telling you, if you haven't gotten it yet, you need to get it.
Yeah.
It's a very special project. And actually, for the first time ever, Mark put a piano solo on the group project. And I did a
Yeah.
very special arrangement that I helped arrange with First Baptist Atlanta's our staff arranger Cody McVeigh
Okay.
of the song "Amazing Grace" that just
Yeah.
celebrated his 250th anniversary last year, and so I'm grateful to have that on the project.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things you can get, and we want you to have the latest from the Mark Trammell Quartet. You can stream us as well on all the major streaming platforms, but you can order online. Or like I said, come see us in concert. We'd love to see you somewhere down the
That's right.
road. We're everywhere. I mean, we're going to be in Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, Georgia, Florida. We've got probably another 14 dates left for this year before we go on Christmas break.
Yeah.
So come see us, and if not, then sometime next year. We do about 180 dates a year, so we're all over the country. Wherever the Lord opens the door, you'll find the Mark Trammell Quartet.
That's right. That's right. Good deal. Well, I appreciate you, Trevor, and we'll be talking to you. Hopefully, see you soon down the road. And thank you for
Yes,
doing this, sir. I
sir.
appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Josh, and appreciate your love and support for gospel music. We
Thank you,
appreciate
sir.
that, I know, on behalf of all the artists.
Yep. Thank you, sir. You take care, Trevor. Thank you. You've been listening to episode 5 of the Behind Music podcast with Trevor Conkle. Thank you so much for listening, and join us next time.
You have been listening to Behind the Music podcast with your host, Josh Griffin. Tune in next time, and until then, please rate and share this podcast.